Okay, let's see if this works. I haven't, bleh. I haven't done an update in a really long time, mainly because I didn't have anything good to say. And for vanity reasons, I have, since my second Lemtrada infusion, I have some thyroid issues and I've gained a ton of weight. I'm not happy about what I look like, and I didn't have a whole lot of good news. And then I thought I should probably tell everybody good news, bad news, whatever the situation is. So I decided that I would do an update after all. It's been, let's see, I had my first Lemtrada infusion in October of 2015. So I had my second infusion in October of 2016. I can't believe it's been as long as it has been. And let's see, I for sure have a thyroid disease, and for sure caused by the Lemtrada infusion, excuse me. I was hypothyroid before I ever had my first infusion. And as of, I guess, probably my first, well, I don't even remember which blood draw it was, when I went extremely further hypothyroid. So I changed my medication. I was fine for a while. Then I ended up hyperthyroid for a while, and then I ended up really incredibly hypothyroid, which hyper means your thyroid is super overactive, and which means your TSH is really low. That's hyperthyroid. Hypothyroid is when your TSH numbers are really high, and that means your thyroid is not really working at all. I was fine for a little while, and then I went, now I think for the last couple of blood draws, I've been really hyperthyroid, which I would prefer. I mean, I prefer because it means, you know, my metabolism is super fast, and my thyroid is really super overactive. However, it also is really badly messing with my hair, and I'm not losing weight anyway, regardless of fast, slow. I mean, I gained a ton of weight, and I'm certainly not losing it yet. I am working with an endocrinologist, trying to figure out, you know, how to figure out what's going on with the thyroid. I don't think it's like a thyroid cancer. I guess I had some nodules on my thyroid. I don't know exactly how the technical information. I'm terrible about that kind of thing. But apparently, if you do have like a thyroid cancer, it is incredibly slow growing. So they're going to check it in a year and see if it has changed in size. And I guess if it gets bigger, that is a sign that maybe it's thyroid cancer, which seems really weird, because if I have any type of a cancer, I would think, you know, that I would want to deal with it faster, sooner rather than later. But apparently you have to wait a year. My current neurologist, I'm also not sure how I feel about him, but I think he's the only neurologist in Arizona that is a Lemtrada certified neurologist. He is not one for comparing pre MRIs to post MRIs, which my last neurologist would pull up. She pulled up the MRI from before I had my first Lemtrada infusion and after my infusion, and it was really interesting for me to see that, and I obviously want to see that again, but my neurologist here doesn't subscribe to that. He just goes by what the radiologist report says, which is a little bit odd to me. I'm not sure. I'm frustrated anyway, because I feel like I'm not being monitored as closely as I should be, or I don't know. I think that maybe his other Lemtrada patients are probably earlier in their disease process, and he told me once that that none of them have ever needed any further MS treatment. So I feel like he's kind of lumping me into the relapsing remitting Lemtrada patients who don't have further issues after their Lemtrada infusion, but that is not the experience that I'm having. That since my second infusion, the year in between my first infusion and my second infusion was fantastic. That's when I posted a lot of videos and I was doing really great, and I was seeing benefits and able to do things that I had not been able to do for a really long time. But since the second infusion, and then that was in October, and then in March, that's when I ended up in the hospital and then in the rehab facility, and I've had really incredible upper body weakness, and it just seems like I'm having a lot of further issues since the second infusion, even more so than I was having before the first infusion. So I'm not sure. I feel like I need to, once I get a handle on all of this extra stuff that I'm dealing with, then maybe I can sit back and maybe talk to a different neurologist who, might be able to help me sort of figure out exactly what has happened MS-wise. I've got so many other irons in the fire with other health issues that I never have had before in my life, that I haven't really been able to focus that much on sort of the MS stuff. But I need to, I want to. So that's a goal. Let's see, I feel like I'm sort of getting a handle on the other things, which is maybe why I decided to make the video now. I'm hopefully going to be able to figure out what's going on with my thyroid. I have changed my diet drastically. I'm decided to go to a whole foods plant-based diet. So I just started that less than a week ago. I feel really great, but just from what I've read, that tends to help people recover from high blood pressure, cancers, and all kinds of other crazy things that I do not have yet, thankfully. But just overall, I don't eat meat anyway, and I haven't in years, but I eat, I do eat a lot of cheese and dairy. I guess that is, one thing that you definitely cut out with a plant-based diet, and I need to eat more vegetables, and anyway, that'll be information for the future, because like I say, it's only been about a week, but I do think that that's probably the best thing that I could do for myself right now. I'm hoping to get off the blood pressure medication, lose the weight, obviously, get off the statin. Oh, I think why I even mentioned the blood clot in my left. It was a DVT, which is a deep vein thrombosis behind my left knee. And I found out after the fact that I have like a 40% occlusion in one of the main arteries, I think it is, that supplies blood to my left leg. So that also is something that I'm hoping, you know, changing my diet and losing the weight will help or make go away. I've never had anything like that before, so that was it's a little bit concerning, obviously. I did just lower the dose of the medication that I was on for the blood thinner. I halved my dose just on Wednesday, and then I think it'll be 4 months. 2 months from now, I will have another bilateral ultrasound to see how the blood is flowing up and down, you know, both of my legs, in the veins and the arteries. I'm not exactly sure, but one of them goes one way and the other one goes the other way to see how the blood is flowing. And hopefully that will be good news. And then in another 2 months, I will see my, it's a cardiologist, but he's a venous, oh dear, I don't know. I don't even know what it's called. A vascular surgeon. Thank you, vascular surgeon. I will see him, and hopefully I may be able to go off the blood thinners altogether. So that would be fantastic. I also, since my second infusion in February, October, second infusion, the following March is when sort of everything, all the bad things started happening. But in February, I started having really bad pain in my neck and shoulders. So that has actually gotten better. I had some trigger point injections to help with that. So I feel like maybe that not only helped with the pain, but I think maybe it helped with the upper body strength. I have a prior video talking about the my right hand being like a claw. In between the first and second Lemtrada infusion, it was not like that at all. I never wore the glove. It didn't curl. It was, you know, I was doing my own hair. I think I even was able to wash my hair a couple of times. Since the second Lemtrada infusion, I've had just the really weak, I have a hard time even raising my arms above my head. Even my left one, which is supposed to be my good arm, I have a hard time with that one too, but the right arm especially, and then my right hand does the claw thing, you know, often. Anyway, I hope to, obviously I'll do more videos with, you know, as I'm losing the weight, and if anything else, you know, good happens. I have had some amazingly positive things happen. I still think that the Lemtrada is the best decision I could have made. If you read, I'm not sure, my blog or another video, Lemtrada was my 12th treatment. And I mean, nothing else had helped. I've had MS over 20 years. I'm in a scooter. I cannot walk at all. I can stand and pivot to transfer, but I cannot take a step. That really hasn't changed, although I have taken a step every now and then. I can actually take a step with, I think it's with my left leg. I've only been able to do it a couple of times. And I think another one of my videos, I'm, you know, standing and my hands and arms are, you know, fairly normal, which they are some of the time. More often lately, they were really bad for a really long time. I also think that the neck, whatever's happening in my neck, is it's a degenerative disc disease, I think, and so I think the trigger point injections may have helped not only with the pain, but I think they may have helped with the hands and arm weakness. But we'll see. I'm hoping that once I'm off the blood thinner, I'll be able to get some epidural steroid injections is something else that they wanted to do to alleviate the inflammation in the neck that's causing the pain, and that I really honestly feel like may help the weakness. But anyway, it's still not as bad as it was when I was wearing the glove all the time, when my hand was up a claw, you know, most of the time. Now it's kind of off and on. Some days it is, some days it isn't. I've got lots of other modifications. I wanted that I will do a video to show, you know, how I'm dealing with some of my new challenges, because I always like to do that, because I'm sure other people have the same challenges. Anyway, thank you for watching. I just wanted to say, hey, I'm still here. I'm, you know, just trying to figure out some of these health issues, and I'll, you know, do more videos. If you have any questions or, you know, want some maybe further information, send me an email or send me a message, leave a comment, and I'll get back to you. And thank you for watching. Thanks so much. And I will hopefully be back shortly.